Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at a very fun team in the Classic Ultra League Premier Cup. Now this team does feature one of my all-time favorite off-meta mons, and that is MILOTIC. We are running MILOTIC in the lead with Dragon Tail, Surf, and Hyper Beam as our surprise nuke move. Now, while I do love running MILOTIC, unfortunately, it is very weak to the new meta monster that is Trevenant. So in the back, we have our team of Trevenant Slayers. We have Shadow Snorlax on the save switch and Poison Jab Alolan Muck as our closer. And this team actually ended up working out really well for me. I did go 7-3 in the two sets that I tried it in. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and let's take a look at Hyper Beam MILOTIC in action in the Classic Ultra League Premier Cup. Hopping into the first match, picking up a pretty nice lead, we have MILOTIC into Nidoqueen. The opponent will save switch into Swampert. Unfortunately, I don't have a great response to a Swampert save switch, so I am going to get some chip damage with the Surf from MILOTIC and bring in the Shadow Snorlax. I will probably have to commit a shield to maintain alignment, so I am going to shield the first move they throw, and they actually go for the nuke move. They go for the Earthquake, so that's a massive shield for us. We are going to be going for the Body Slam, and we do get the shield back. This should just be a Hydro Cannon, so I can survive it, but if we take another Hydro Cannon plus the Mud Shots, that will be getting us very, very low. I should be able to shield up and farm all the way down. Since I'm the Shadow Snorlax, my licks actually do 1 extra damage compared to the non-Shadow, so I'm able to farm down the Swampert and leave with a bunch of energy to threaten the Nidoqueen. We're going for the Body Slam. That does do a nice chunk of damage. These licks are chunking the Nidoqueen as well. This is a very ambitious farm down for the Nidoqueen. That gets them very low. They have Dragonite, and now we're going to bring in the Poison Jab Alolan Muck. Going for the Dark Pulse. We are not baiting. I'm not expecting them to commit the shield here. Dark Pulse, it lands, and the opponent resigns the match. So right off the bat, off to a good start. Hopping into the second one, MILOTIC into Empoleon. Now you might be thinking this is a pretty rough lead for MILOTIC, but it's actually a very neutral lead in even shield situations. So I'm actually going to stay in here, play this out, and we're going to be going for the Surf. Now Surf doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it may lull my opponent into a false sense of security, and then I'm going to try and land the Hyper Beam. MILOTIC is very bulky, so we can safely tank that first drill pack. The Empoleon overfarms, and we're going for the kill shot with the Hyper Beam. Little bit of lag there, come on please, and the Hyper Beam lands, and they die with almost 2 Hydro Cannons. They bring in Dragonite to farm down, trying to get to the Surf. Unfortunately, I just cannot get there. So unfortunately, that Dragonite does have a pretty big energy lead. We're going to bring in the Shadow Snorlax, and they are at enough for a Hurricane. I am going to be shielding this up. We do correctly shield the nuke, which is fantastic, but they have Charizard in the back. And Charizard, when you're down a shield, is very scary once your water type is dead. So we do get the shield there, and now I have a tough call to make. Are they deciding to bait? I let it go, they do not bait, and I die with the move. So very rough call there by me. Now we're farming up with the Alolan Muck, and we're going for the bait. We're hoping to get that shield so we can farm down. They call the bait. That's absolutely terrible. And now we are going to shield up, and we get baited, making all the wrong calls in the end game. This will be the Blast Burn, and from here, unfortunately, we no longer have the win con. They bring in the Dragonite, and we concede the match. All right, hopping to the next match, another Nidoqueen lead, very nice, and they have Goodra. Now, switching Goodra into a Dragon Tail user, we're able to do a ton of damage, and then we're going to switch into the Snorlax to soak up the damage from that Power Whip. Now, Power Whip would hurt MILOTIC a decent amount, but Shadow Snorlax absolutely eats those for days. We're going for the Body Slam. That'll do a nice chunk of damage to Goodra, and I believe they should be short of the Power Whip here. I'm going to call it, and it's just the Muddy Water. It's very nice. Unfortunately, our attack did fall. Nidoqueen will be able to farm us down, but we will be able to fire off a Body Slam, which definitely does some nice chip damage onto that Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen able to farm us down, and we do have a loaded Surf on MILOTIC, so we should be able to force a shield, which is very, very nice. We're able to get the shield. They're throwing. I have a tough decision to make here. I call it, and it's the Earth Power, and they switch. They have Trevenant in the back, and this is absolutely fantastic for us. We have Poison Jab Alolan Muck, which absolutely destroys Trevenant. All charge moves Trevenant throws are resisted, and we're hitting them for neutral with the poison jabs and super effective with the Dark Pulse. They bring back in the Nidoqueen, and here I'm not baiting. I'm going for the damage with the Dark Pulse to see if we can land it. We land it, and at this point the game is over because we are going to be able to Dragon Tail them down. I don't have to shield this. We'll let that go. It's the Earth Power. In comes Milotic. We're able to Dragon Tail down, and that is a good game. Alright, hopping into the next match. Milotic into Shadow Electivire. Oh my goodness, the spice. We are going to safe switch out of there. Our Milotic does not want any part of that Shadow Electivire, and unfortunately we do get baited. I'm going to try and throw on the CMP tie. I'm expecting them to throw the Wild Charge this time, which they do, and this should be a CMP tie so we can force a shield before they decide to switch out. Little bit of lag there, but we do force CMP, which is very nice, and we get the shield. They're staying in, so I'm going to see if we can force this second shield from the Electivire. Their defense is lowered, so we should be able to get it, and honestly, these licks are chunking the Electivire. Does get it very, very low. They go for the Wild Charge, doesn't quite KO, but they snipe with Roserade. Very nicely done. So far, my Milotic is not looking like it has a ton of play. So here we are going to get hit with a move. My thought is they're probably running Leaf Storm, so I'm going to bring in the Alolan Muck to tank the damage. We're going to be going for the Crunch. It will not KO, but should get it low. We bring in Milotic, and we're able to snipe with Dragon Tails. In the back, they have Confusion Executor, so this man is having a lot of fun with his team, and we have to get to this Hyper Beam. The Seed Bomb lands, we survive it, and we get to the Hyper Beam. Milotic able to hit back hard. That's going to take them out. The Electivire farms down, but they're just short of a move. We are able to Poison Jab down with the Alolan Muck, and that is a good game. All right, hopping into the next match. Terrible lead. Trevenant, we're going to save switch into the Shadow Snorlax, and we bait out Surfetched. Now, I am going to be going straight for the Body Slam. This will do some nice chunk damage. They let it through, and at this point, I know that I can win switch advantage. The very nice thing about the Surfetched switch-in is Surfetched is exceedingly glassy. So after I land the Body Slam, I'm just going to double shield, lick down, and win switch advantage, so that way my Milotic will not have to face their Trevenant in the end game. Now let's see, will they bring back in the Trevenant? They do, but trying to Shadow Claw down a normal type is a very tall task. These licks will really add up on the Trevenant, and honestly, so will the double resisted Body Slams. Going for Body Slam number 2. Now this should be getting it pretty low. They try and snipe with Lapras, but we're able to get to one more Body Slam. That is very, very nice. And now we're able to get the shield. We're going to come in with the Milotic. Now, Milotic actually has an okay matchup here, thanks in large part to the fact that we have Hyper Beam. They go for the Skull Bash, that's fine. We have a hard-hitting normal type move of our own. We're going to be able to hit back with the Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam lands and does a nice chunk of Lapras's health. Now here, I just want to keep farming and force them to throw. That's basically my plan, is I just want to force them to throw. That's fine. They throw the Surf, and I'm going to make them empty their energy onto my Milotic, so that way the Trevenant doesn't get any extra farm. We bring in the Muck. Trevenant does have the move, but Alolan Muck, as we've discussed, absolutely walls Trevenant. We're just going to be able to farm it all the way down, and the opponent resigns the match. So absolutely terrible lead, but we're able to flip switch thanks to Shadow Snorlax. All right, hopping into the next match, we have Shadow Machamp on the lead. Now, this is not a great lead for the team to see, as Milotic doesn't do particularly well against it, and neither does the Shadow Snorlax. So we're going to stay in, eat the Cross Chop, and the opponent save switches into a Shadow Kanto Muck. I try and get to the Hyper Beam, but they're able to reach a Thunder Punch. That is terrible, and by shielding, I've now telegraphed that I'm going for the nuke move. We go for the Hyper Beam, and it's shielded. That is tragic, and now we're going to bring in the Shadow Snorlax. Now, the nice thing here, this Body Slam will do a lot of damage onto the Shadow Kanto Muck, and my plan is to try and farm it all the way down so we can leave with a move to throw at the Machamp. They go for the Thunder Punch, and we're farming, and they get to another move. That is really rough. They get to the Dark Pulse. That takes me out. We're going to farm up with our Alolan Muck, and they're going to bring in the Shadow Machamp. I do build up to the Dark Pulse, and I'm going for the bait, hoping that we can force the shield here. And go for the Cross Chop. We're going for the bait, trying to get that shield from Machamp. We are able to get the shield, which is very nice. Can we catch? Yes, we're able to catch onto MILOTIC. That's very nice. And now we'll be able to farm down, and we have to hope that Alolan Muck has a good matchup in the back. But they have Shadow Crobat, and unfortunately, we are not going to be able to output enough damage to take out the Shadow Crobat. Very cool team by my opponent. They are running Machamp Double Poison. And unfortunately, just not really a good matchup for my team. We're able to land the Dark Pulse, but we will get farmed down, and that is a good game. All right, hopping to the next match. We have MILOTIC into Shadow Dragonite. This is an incredible lead for us. Look at the Dragon Tails, absolutely chunk. Now, a Shadow Dragon Claw will hurt, but MILOTIC, as I mentioned, is bulky. We can tank that. They bring in the Shadow Snorlax. We're building up, and we're going for the Hyper Beam, trying to do maximum damage onto the Snorlax, and it lands. And unfortunately, it is a CMP tie. So, you know what? We're actually going to let this go down. I'm fine with that. And my guess is it's probably a steal in the back, so I'm going to bring in the Alolan Muck so we can get some usefulness out of it, and we're going to save the Snorlax for the potential steal type in the back. They go for the superpower since they're going down. We're able to farm them down. Now, will they bring in the steal type, or will they bring in the Dragonite? They bring in the Dragonite, we throw one Poison Jab, and we're going for the Dark Pulse. This will be taking them out if they decide not to shield, and it is a Steel type in the back. It's Shadow Scizor. So, unfortunately, Shadow Scizor has followed me from the Halloween Cup into the Ultra League. I am going to commit the shield to get off this Acid Spray, because Shadow Scizor is incredibly glassy. We're going to debuff it, and we're just going to lick it all the way down. Look at the lick damage on the Shadow Scizor. After we've debuffed them, I'm going to call the bait in case they get the boost. Night Slash, they do get the boost, so huge that we no-shielded the first one. We are going to shield this up, and then Shadow Snorlax is a monster. We're going to lick all the way down, and the opponent dies with 2 shields. All right, hopping to the next one, we have MILOTIC into Gallade. Now, this is not a fabulous lead for me. I'm going to save switch into my Shadow Snorlax, and they counter switch into a Lapras, and this is not a bad matchup for me. Going for the Body Slam, and I'm hopeful that I should be able to force shields here, because if I can force shields, I'm going to be a pretty happy camper. Going for the Body Slam, we get the shield. That is very nice, and at this point, I'm content with letting this go. It's a Surf, so they don't actually go for a harder hitting move, and we're going to be going for another Body Slam. Unfortunately, didn't build up to the superpower, so they don't have to shield it, but it was CMP, so I wanted to get that guaranteed damage off. Surf will take me out, and I'm going to bring in the MILOTIC. MILOTIC able to farm down. Now they bring in Venusaur, and we have Alolan Muck. So we were able to bait out the Lapras, and now, unfortunately for my opponent, Alolan Muck has a ton of play against the rest of their team. We are not baiting, we're going straight for the Dark Pulse, trying to do maximum damage. We're able to connect with it, and this second Frenzy Plant will hurt, so I will actually commit the shield here, and they're probably going to switch into the Gallade, and I'm going to be going for the Acid Spray. I'm expecting them to shield. A Dark Pulse would hurt, and let's see if we can get the shield. We do get the shield, and these Poison Jabs are absolutely destroying Gallade. I'm expecting that they don't want to debuff themselves right away, so we're able to call the Leaf Blade bait, and from here, we are going to be able to land that Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse will be taking them out. They're going to bring back in the Venusaur. We get it very low, and one Dragon Tail from MILOTIC takes them out, and that is a good game. All right, hopping into the next match. So we're on a bit of a win streak here, and we have another Gallade on the lead. So we know what we like to do. Save switch into the Snorlax, and we're met with an Escavalier. Now this is not great. Unfortunately, we're not able to flip switch here. We're going to be going for the superpower, which lands, but the opponent, very nice counting, is going to be throwing before I'm able to reach that second move. They go for the Drill Run. I'm going to wait my clock, and then I have a very ambitious Dragon Tail down ahead of me. Trying to farm down with MILOTIC, we're going to have to eat a move, and if it's the Mega Horn, it's going to hurt. Oh man, Mega Horn does huge damage, and they're going to be bringing back in the Gallade. They bring in the Gallade. I throw one Dragon Tail just so they don't sneak a free Confusion. We're going for the Surf. We get the shield, and now it's all up to Alolan Muck to carry. But unfortunately, they had 2 poison type counters in the back. So unfortunately, this one is kind of just a team comp loss there. We were able to bait out the Escavalier, which is typically a good sign, but they also had a Swampert in the back. And Swampert just significantly outpaces Poison Jab Alolan Muck, as they will be able to get both of our shields and get to a third move before we're able to reach a third of our own. Going for the Dark Pulse, maybe they think we're baiting, that's the only win con here, but of course they are going to be shielding that up. They get to the third move, and at this point there is no longer a win con in the match. I do switch into the Milotic, but Gallade is just going to be able to farm me down. This Surf is not going to be doing enough damage to the Gallade. They are able to farm me down, and I resign the match. So a good game there. Unfortunately, just very tough backline for mine. And hopping into the final match, Milotic into Nidoqueen, another great lead. They are going to bring in a Shadow Lapras. And again, I don't have a great response to this, so we're going to stay in, and we're going to go for the Beam. They may not know about the Hyper Beam, going for the Beam, and it lands. We switch into the Shadow Snorlax. They panic, throw their energy, and we are going to soak all that energy onto the Shadow Snorlax. So that is incredible for us. And now we have a pretty healthy Shadow Snorlax, and we'll be able to apply a lot of pressure onto this Nidoqueen. And if they try and farm us down, we are going to be able to get them very, very low. It looks like they are trying to farm down. We're able to get to a second Body Slam, and this should be getting them very low, so they do commit the shield and farm down. So we are up on shields, and I'm going to bring in the Milotic, but it's going to be a very tough baiting game. Bring in the Milotic. Now the question is, the last one went for the Earth Power, so I shielded up, and it's a Poison Fang bait, and this will be the Earth Power. This will be doing absolutely massive damage. I can survive it. Milotic is very tanky, and they have Trevenant in the back. So if you see Trevenant with this team, it's pretty fantastic because your back 2 Mons absolutely destroy it. Look at that. Shadow Ball doing absolutely nothing. We are going to overfarm, go for the Dark Pulse kill shot to guarantee a shield. We do get the shield. That's very nice. And here, they can probably just go for a Seed Bomb, to be honest. But they go for the Shadow Ball, which is great for me because now I can overfarm and throw right before they do get to the Seed Bomb. This will be taking them out. And then thanks to that overfarm, they are not going to be able to reach the Earth Power. This is just the Poison Fang, and we are out of Poison Fang range. Poison Fang, not enough to take us out. We undertap, we get to the Dark Pulse, and that is going to be a good game. So all in all, I had a ton of fun running this team. It felt really nice to be able to bring back out Milotic and have success with it. I am going to try running this team for a few more sets in the coming days to see if I do have the same success that I did when I initially started. But right off the bat, this team was looking and feeling pretty strong. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.